Well, how about that? The Pittsburgh Penguins can play professional, competent, patient, strong, and successful hockey. I am Dan Kingerski on the Pittsburgh Hockey Now YouTube channel, where the Penguins were in Boston, where the Penguins beat the Boston Bruins 2-1 on Friday night. Rickard Rakell scores the Penguins' first goal with 0.8 seconds remaining in the second period. Philip Tomasino takes a little touch pass from Evgeny Malkin, heads towards the net, heads towards the slot. Little late curl fools Bruins goalie Jeremy Swayman. That holds up as the game winner. I asked Tomasino after the game, did you fool Swayman there? Was that just a late curl? He's like, I shot everywhere else. I figured I'd try 5-hole. Tomasino has a pretty big personality. I think you'll begin to like him a whole lot as well, especially if they're winning. I thought the quote of the night certainly came from Penguins head coach Mike Sullivan. In addition to, we kind of asked him about several players, several moves, but the quote from Sullivan that kind of stuck with me following the game was, the last few games we're beginning to look like the team we want to be. Believe it or not, the Penguins have actually won a couple of games in a row, and I think they've won 3 of 4, counting the San Jose Sharks game, Vancouver, and Boston. So let's kind of dive into the nitty-gritty of the Bruins and the Penguins game, because I saw some folks kind of tweeting at me a little bit that it was a boring game, or it felt like preseason. I can't say it felt like that here in the building. It was a controlled game. There wasn't a lot of frenetic energy, or there wasn't a lot of, between the dots play. That was largely due to both teams remaining in their structure, kind of taking away the good ice, taking away the middle of the ice. And the Penguins were content-ish to control the outside. They had I think they had 28, 20, it was changing a little bit. Somewhere around 28 shots after 2 periods. But all of them, or shouldn't say all, but most of them were from the outside. Rickard Rakell alluded to that. But the Penguins kept fighting. You saw in Tomasino's goal especially, Drew O'Connor battling Swayman, battling the defense, kicking that puck free so that the goaltender couldn't trap it. That kept the Penguins in the offensive zone, kept the play going, and it kind of scrambled Boston just a little bit. Talking to Andrew Fantucchio, our Boston writer, he was criticizing the Bruins for letting the Penguins, these smaller Penguins, get to the net too easily. It's funny how I'm watching the Penguins, I see one thing. Andrew, watching the Bruins, saw another entirely. That's what happens, I suppose, when you're watching one team predominantly. But the Penguins fought to get to that dirty ice. Like I said, Rickard Rakell alluded to finally getting into the slot in the third period. He had a couple of good rips, courtesy of Sidney Crosby. But the Malkin, O'Connor, and Tomasino line that Mike Sullivan created at the beginning of the second period really was the Penguins' best. I think he created it about 2 minutes into the second period. It wasn't clicking with Michael Bunting, Malkin, and Tomasino. But literally on the first full shift with Drew O'Connor, he sidestepped 2 defenders on a speed rush straight up the ice. Malkin and Tomasino kind of flying 3 wide. The Penguins get in the zone. They create more chances. And of the, let's call it 3 or 4 best 5-on-5 shifts for the Penguins of the game on, what day is it? Yeah, it's Friday. All of them were the Malkin line. Malkin assisted on Tomasino's game winner, and you'll have to check out the locker room video on the YouTube channel. Tomasino was just over the moon that Evgeny Malkin set him up for the game winner. Tomasino, all of 23, doesn't hide his enthusiasm for the game or for life. He's a bubbly guy. He's a lot of fun, and I think you're gonna like him if he sticks around long term. So that's just about it here in the 5-minute post game. I don't have a whole lot to bring you because it was such a structured, coordinated, professional effort. Oh, a couple of report card items before you run away. Erik Karlsson, fantastic on Friday night. I think it was his best game of the season. I thought he played really well against Vancouver, but he was really good defensively as well. He was engaged in the defensive zone. He also, from very early on, you could see he was into this game. He kind of pinched down low. There was a loose puck, and with intent, he raced back into position. Let's be honest, that's been a real bugaboo for Karlsson this season. He hasn't raced back. He hasn't hustled around the ice to get in position or to defend. I thought Tristan Jarry was really good on Friday as well. He didn't get scrambly. When the game can get tense, Jarry, I think this season especially, has gotten scrambly for the Penguins. He didn't do that Friday night. And of course, you look at the blue line. That ghastly mistake by Ryan Shea and Jack St. Ivany 90 seconds into the game gives Boston the first goal. You think, here they go, right? It wasn't the first shot, it was the second shot on goal. But the Penguins regrouped. Mike Sullivan benched St. Ivany and Ryan Shea for probably a good 6 minutes, I believe. Everybody got the message. Team settles. Those two especially settled. Once they got back out there were no more mistakes. So combined with Erik Karlsson playing well and Letang and Matt Grzelcyk playing well, Grzelcyk got the tribute video. It was a good night for the Penguins. So I hope you all had a fantastic Thanksgiving. The Penguins win Friday. They're right back at home on Saturday. I still have to think of the days of the week, so you'll forgive me. But I think this is that big building block. We talked about some of the things they did right against Vancouver. If they flush that tonight, the season just goes sideways and completely into chaos. But they built on it. They won a one-goal game, a low-scoring one-goal game. These are the building blocks. This keeps stacking and stacking. And you might be looking for them to lose and get the high draft pick. I promise you, the guys in the locker room are not. They still believe, they still are trying to win these games. And look at the standings. They're like Monty Python, they're not dead yet. Okay, from TD Garden, I'm Dan Kingerski on the Pittsburgh Hockey Now YouTube channel.